What is up? I play guitar and do vocals in the metal band Viminal, and today I am going to talk about what I do to audition people for this fucking band. Now, last week we got rid of our drummer. Sometimes you gotta do that. And I got inspired to talk about what I do to audition people. One other little thing about me, I actually used to work at a startup. And when I was there, I did a bunch of hiring and interviews and shit like that. And a lot of the ideas that I have about how to audition people and do it efficiently come from that part of my background. So let's get to it. From my perspective, the key is to find out if somebody's the right match as quickly as possible. So that first begins with you being clear with yourself about what you want, and then communicating that very clearly in your ad and with the people who audition when they email you or message you on Facebook. So let's define an audition. In auditioning someone, you want to assess talents, skills, personality traits, and I think this is really important, and also their own goals, and see how that all jives with what you want and what your goals are. Now, what you ask for in an audition should actually assess those things. Are they good enough to play in your band? Do they like the same music? Do they like your music? Are they chill? Whatever the fuck is important to you. So here's the essence of my strategy. I want to ask for enough to evaluate the people who are auditioning, but not so much that it overwhelms them. So all the steps that I'm going to describe in my process will be simple and discreet for both you and the people who are auditioning. And in general, I want to make it unintimidating for the people who are auditioning to take action, and then easy for me to evaluate that action. So let's say somebody hits you up on Facebook or email or whatever, and I've actually talked about how to post ads and find local musicians in a previous video, and I will link that shit for you. First, pay attention to how they communicate. Honestly, every time someone has emailed me or contacted me at work or in my band, and their shit might as well have been written in crayon, those people never pan out. I don't know what it is, but being professional, being able to communicate well is just an indicator of overall talent and proficiency in whatever you're doing. So anybody who can't communicate and write you a decent email, don't waste your time. All right. So first thing I do is I get my deal breakers out of the way. By a deal breaker, I mean something that I would require of the person being in the band. And if they don't have that, obviously it's a deal breaker. I list those in my musicians wanted ads, but honestly, I don't know what it is. A lot of people don't read them. So you really have to, if someone like emails you, you have to ask them right away. Just get it out of the way, and that way you don't waste any time. So that might be like, how long have they been playing? Where are they located? Is there an age requirement that you have? Prior experience? Anything like that. Just get that out right away, and that way you don't waste more than 30 seconds figuring out something that later would have prevented the person from actually working out anyway. And there's one caveat here. Be mindful of locations. I've seen this a lot. People will live 2 hours away from your practice space or from your job or wherever, and they'll say, oh, I don't mind driving. And yeah, they won't mind for a week. And then after that, it'll be a pain in the ass to get them there. So anybody who's more than 40 minutes away or so, no. Next, I ask for clips of their playing. Video or audio, but obviously video is ideal because you get to, see what their performance is like and what their image is, if that's important to you. Getting some media from the person auditioning is important for two reasons. So the first is obvious. You get to evaluate their skills. The second reason is if you are an aspiring musician and you don't have any recordings or media, it kind of speaks to how serious you are about making it as a musician. If you don't have recordings or media or anything like that, you're either inexperienced or you're fucking lazy. And I don't want either of those in my band. That said, I always just say, hey, shoot me something with your phone and just email that to me. Usually that's reasonable for most people. Everyone has a smartphone, so, and the video quality and the audio quality, and that's good enough. The one thing I would suggest is ask whoever you're talking to play something that's relevant, a certain genre, or showing rhythm guitar or lead guitar or whatever, whatever part you're trying them out for. Just make it relevant. So assuming all that goes well, then I send them one or two of my songs, both as an MP3 and then as a tab, Guitar Pro and the PDF. Now, so far, I've spent no more than 2 minutes actually sending emails and figuring stuff out. So this is very efficient. Once I send them those songs, I do ask them to send me a video again of them playing just a portion of it. Now, this is pretty important. I send them the most difficult or the most like nuanced song that we have. In our case so far, at least of the ones that's online, that's Ever Darkening. Now I do this because I kind of want to set the tone for how challenging it might be to play in the band. Like, somebody might be able to play, for example, the rhythm guitar parts for a song like War God, but some of those leads on Ever Darkening are a lot faster, and if you can't play that, then you can't play in the band at all, right? So I'm choosing something on purpose that is like, if you can play this, you can play everything else. So if you can play the leads for Ever Darkening, you can probably play the rhythm guitar for something like War God, but the reverse is not necessarily true. For me, skill, talent, like the actual playing ability, that's what's really important for me, and that's the big thing I'm looking for. I mean, there's other stuff, but just make it relevant to what you are looking for. Only you can decide what that is. And please, fucking send a tab. I don't get it. I don't get these metal bands that are telling people trying out to pick out their songs by ear. First of all, the songs are complicated. Second of all, often the recordings are shitty, so it's hard to pick stuff out. And when is that going to be used on a daily basis, being in a band? I mean, I'm not saying that being able to pick stuff out by ear doesn't mean you're not good at your instrument, and clearly that shows some musical ability, but it's totally irrelevant to being in a band on a daily basis. I never have to pick anything out by ear. So why would I expect that of the people auditioning in my bands? You're probably going to like scare people away more often than you're going to find the right people by just saying pick it out by ear. So for this video, I just asked for like a 20 or 30 second section of the song, and here's why. I just want to pick the part of the song that, again, is indicative of their ability and is probably the hardest part of the song. This way I'm not overwhelming them by asking them to play an entire 5-minute song on camera when they've just learned it. Most people are not going to be able to do that well, and again, it's just going to be too intimidating and people won't do it, so you won't get people to audition. I'll actually link in the description a video of a guy who auditioned for us on Instagram, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's very short, and it shows a lot of his playing ability in just 20 or 30 seconds. So let's say they send that clip, and it sounds good. Next thing I want to do is meet with them in person, obviously, so we'll meet up at a practice space, or sometimes at their house, just depends. So I do ask them to learn that first song, the song that they sent the video for, learn that in its entirety. Even then, though, most people aren't going to get that totally perfect in just a week. So keep that in mind. Honestly, you can tell, at least in my opinion, you can tell when people are messing up the song because they truly can't play it because they don't have the inherent ability, or if it's just a matter of memorization or they just need more time with it. So be mindful of that difference and don't be overly critical. Assuming that first practice goes well, I do recommend having a few more practices and jams with someone before you officially let them in your band. And make sure you meet with everybody who wants to be in the band and is qualified before you actually settle on anybody. I've made the mistake before of thinking the first guy that shows up is perfect, and then that dude ends up flaking, and I blew off all these awesome opportunities with other people because I told them, no, we have somebody in the band already. So finding members is like getting married. You want to date around a little bit before you settle on somebody permanently. So to recap, ask for things that are relevant for what it takes to be in your band. Ask for the minimum necessary to evaluate those things. And lastly, trust your gut. Be honest with yourself. If somebody rubs you the wrong way, kindly reject the fuck out of that person. I've had a lot of experiences where something didn't quite feel right, and I hired the guy anyway, or I let the guy come audition anyway, and every time is a mistake. All right, I think this has gone on long enough. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, go to our SoundCloud, call my mom, tell her she did a good job raising me. All that shit, I'm going to link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Hope it's been helpful. I'll talk to you next time. Take it easy.